Friends, welcome back to another session of Core Java tutorial. So today we will be seeing what are jump statements. There are three kinds of jump statements available in Java. Those are break, continue and return. So what is a jump statement? What is the purpose of the jump statement? The jump statement transfer the control to another part of the program. So you can transfer the control from the middle of the program to the starting of the program, or from middle to the end. So there is no one sequential order, like you can jump from any part of the program to any part of the program. So you can achieve that by using break, continue and return. Okay, so we'll just start off with break. So what is break used for? Break is used for three things. Okay, so it is used in switch statements. The second one is it is used in loops, and also it is used as labeled break. Labeled break is also called as civilized form of goto statement, because Java do not support goto. So there is one way of achieving a goto kind of functionality, that is by the use of labeled break. So we'll see these with programs. Regarding how break is used in switch, I have made an elaborated video about switch, and I'll share the URL in the description box. Please look into that for how break is used in switch. Okay, how break is used in loops. Okay, so you can just take the code snippet over here. So when this loop is iterating from I is equal to 0 to I is less than 10, that is 9, from 0 to 9. That means that this loop is executing for 10 times. And if I becomes a 5, then we are asking the loop to break. Okay, so so what happens when a break is encountered? So the control comes completely out of the loop to the immediate next statement after first. So this is what will happen, and break is generally used to early terminate the loop. Okay, so the loop is not executed for the fullest. Whenever we want the loop to break, we have the facility of breaking the loop. So this is how break is used in a single loop. Now we'll see how break is used in a nested loop. Okay, so here there are two loops. I is iterating from 1 to 5 for 5 times. This is the outer loop, and this this is the outer loop. J, this is the inner loop. And whenever j becomes 3, we are asking it to break. Now what happens here in the break is, because we have given this break in the inner loop, once this inner loop breaks, the control goes to the outer loop. Only the inner loop is broken. Okay, so the control goes to the outer loop. So I want you to just make a note of it. Like, we are not coming out of the outer loop, we are just coming out of the inner loop. The inner loop is terminated abruptly when j becomes is equal to 3. Okay, so the control goes to the outer loop. Now there is a facility of actually using a break in the inner loop, but still to come out of the entire outer loop or the entire nested loop is by using the labeled break. So we'll just see that. So why we are using labeled break? We are using labeled break to come out of all the nested loops. Okay, so in that cases we'll be using the labeled break. Here only we are coming out of the inner loop. So this is the concept of labeled break. This is the labeled break statement, wherein after the break I have given the name of the label. So before the for loop I have given first over here followed by a semicolon. So this is called as label. So I have labeled it as outer loop as first. So what happens when I have when I tell break first, what happens is according to, if I am not using first over here, what happens, simply a break, what happens, the inner loop is broken. Now what happens, since I said break first, it means that I am asking it to break the outer loop also. So the control comes to the immediate next statement after your outer for. Okay, so this is the use of labeled break, and this acts like the goto statement. Because goto is not supported in Java, you can use breaks to actually act like or function like the goto statements. Okay, well friends, let us look into the usage of continue in the programs. So here in this is a code block wherein I am trying to print the odd numbers on the screen. So it will print 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 on the screen for me, because the loop will be executed from 0 to 9, and within 0 to 9 what are all the odd numbers, it will print them on the screen for me. Okay, so what happens over here? So the point over here is, if I mod 2 is equal to 0, then we are asking it to continue. So what is the purpose of continue over here? Okay, continue will help you to skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. That's what is the use of continue. If we want to execute through the loop, like we don't want to break and come out of the loop, like in break, we want to continue through the loop, through the next iterations of the loop, but at a particular iteration you want to skip that iteration, then you will be using continue. So why we are using continue over here? So that it won't print the even numbers on the screen for us. So we'll see how this works. Now I is equal to 0. Okay, so when I is equal to 0, I mod 2 will give me 0. So since this condition is true for me, what happens? This continue executes. Whenever your JVM sees a continue, what it does is, the next statements after this continue, say there are 100 lines or 10 lines after this continue of this current iteration, all those statements will not execute. Okay, and then what happens? It will skip all these statements and then it goes to the next iteration. Okay, so it goes to the next iteration, and the next iteration happens after I is incremented, updation of the loop counter variable happens, and then the condition is checked and all that will happen. But the point is this. Okay, so continue, whenever your program there is a continue in the program and JVM sees a continue, it will skip the rest of the statements in the current iteration and goes to the next iteration. That's what is the use. So I is equal to 0, so I don't want to print 0 on the screen. Okay, so then 1, since 1 mod 2 is equal to 1, so there is a false over here. So what happens? This system.out.println statement will execute and it will print 1 on the screen. Next I gets incremented, it becomes 2. 2 mod 2 is 0. So 0 is equal to 0 is true. Then what happens? Continue executes. So when continue executes, this printf statement will not execute. Okay, so this println statement will not work for you, because the purpose of continue itself is that, and the functionality of continue is that it will skip the next statements after it in the current iteration and go to the next iteration. So on the output screen it will print only these things for me. Okay, whenever it becomes 10, the loop will be broken and then it goes to the immediate next statement after the for loop. So this is how continue works. This is how a labeled continue works. Okay, so after continue I am giving the label of the outer loop. So the outer loop is labeled as outer. Okay, and what happens here? So since the outer loop is true, it enters into the inner loop. Checking on the value of j. If j is equal to 3, what we are doing is we are asking it to continue. And if we simply use continue without this outer label, what happens is the statements next to continue will be skipped and it goes to the next iteration of j, which is inner loop iteration. But here, since we are saying continue outer, so what happens is the inner loop will be completely terminated. So j will be terminated, and what it does is it goes to the next iteration of I. I want you to understand this. Since we said continue outer, what happens? The inner loop will be completely terminated. So the inner loop will be terminated and the control goes to the next iteration of I. Okay, so next iteration of I. That happens after incrementing I and checking the condition and all that. So this is how the labeled continue works. Return is one of the jump statements, and return is explicitly used to return from a method. If you are not using return, then implicitly it is returned to the caller method. Okay, so there is nothing problem in it. But if you want to explicitly mention, you can also mention it in the program. For example, say that there is a method which is called as an average, and we are calling this method. So now this is called in the main method. So main has become the caller method. Okay. So main has become the caller method, and control goes to the average over here. And what is average? Average is called as the called method. Average is called as the called method. So that's what is about the jump statements. You are going from one part of the program to another part of the program by using return. That's why it's called as a jump statement. And after completion of this particular average, what happens is I'll be using a return over here. So I'll be writing a return in this particular average. So when I write it, even if you write it or not, it will implicitly take return. And then the control is transferred to the caller method. So the control after return is executed, what happens? The control is transferred to the caller method. So that's what is called as a jump statement. If the return type is void, even if you write return or not, it's not a question. Okay, because it's void. Okay, so you needn't mention return explicitly. But if it is like, for example, returning some integer or float or double or whatever, then you cannot ignore this return. So it is mandatory that you return something. Okay, so you have to say like whether it is returning 1, 2 or whatever, and the caller method will be getting this value. So here there should be a mechanism how this caller method is going to catch this. You can simply write it in system.out.println, or you have to, or there is a method like you can say int x is equal to, and then you can say ob.average. So there should be a mechanism in the caller method to actually receive the return type. If there is no return type, if it is void, it's okay. But if it is returning something, then the variable that is going to catch this return type should be incompatible with the type of the the method, the called method. So it should be compatible, because this is having a return type of integer. So the in the caller method, the variable that is going to hold the returned value should also be of that type. So there should be type compatibility there. So this is regarding return. And if you are using return inside the main, what happens is like you will be returning to the JVM. You can write or you needn't write, because main method is also a void method. So obviously there is no need of writing a return. But if you are writing it explicitly, it's not a mistake. Okay, it's not an error. So you can have them. So that's all about return. So in today's class we have seen break, continue and return, all the jump statements together.